This is The Spot, a BYU-Idaho radio production where we talk about what you're talking about at BYU-Idaho. Today's hosts are me, Christian Nelson.
Me, Chandler Guadagnin.
And me, Brianna Leal.
With special guests Emma Berry and Chris Pond. The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university and are solely the opinions of the host. Okay, so FHE activities.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, because we all have issues with that, especially during the winter time.
Yeah, it's cold. It's hard to find things to do when it's this cold out, but obviously there has to be something to do, right?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I have a lot of ideas. We all have a lot of ideas of what we could do, whether it's inside or outside, and we'll be talking about those both during this podcast.
Absolutely. So, Brianne, you came up with a lot of different ideas.
39.
39.
I counted.
Yeah, and that's awesome. What were some of your favorites?
Some of my favorites was definitely PowerPoint night. That was absolutely my favorite because you just come up with these funny PowerPoints that you could do this with your FHE sisters and FHE brothers. So an example of an FHE brother PowerPoint, they did who can be Goku? Who do you think is the best at being Goku in a battle? And then they just give all the reasons why they think they would be able to defeat Goku.
That's funny.
And then an example for the sisters was maybe why you think Taylor Swift is the best singer or something like that, which I think is pretty funny, and just debating on who the best singer each sister thinks that they enjoy the most.
What PowerPoint would you make?
What PowerPoint would I make? Why I would be the best Pokemon trainer.
There you go. What about you, Chandler?
Oh, why I would make the best Giants bat boy. That would, yeah.
Oh, bat boy. As in someone who collects the bats.
Bat. Yeah, they pick up the bats and the balls and they do all the junk, or not junk. It's good stuff, but yeah. They do all the dirty work.
You said bat boy, and I was like, Giants bat boy. And I was like, that sounds crazy. Yeah. Mine, I'd probably just find a way to force everyone to learn what 40K is. So,
yes.
For anyone out there who knows what that is. But that's a great idea. I really like that. That's very creative, and it allows people to kind of put their own expression or spin on things, and you learn more about your FHE group members through an activity like that. That's a great activity.
Yeah, and I think that would also be great as a get-to-know-you activity.
Right.
Because essentially when you're creating these PowerPoints, you get to know a lot more about each person within each group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. One of the ones I think is really fun. I know it can be a more boring one, but I'm a video person up here at school, so I watch a lot of movies. And movie nights, I think, are always a lot of fun, especially if you're with a group who likes to talk about movies. Have you guys ever had a movie night with your FHE group?
We have, in past semesters we have, but we watched a really funny movie, and if anybody is listening from the old FHE group, they will stew me over this, that I can't remember the name of it, but it was hilarious. I lost it so many times.
Yeah,
but it was.
Do you
fun.
Remember the movie or
it? Bits and pieces.
Yeah,
but I just remember the funny parts. Right?
You don't remember what it's called.
I don't remember what it's called. I just know that it was good. So it's one of those cult classics, I think. Yeah,
just one of them.
Yeah, one of the many.
I think the last time we did an FHE, we called it Movie Night Monday, but the last time we did it, we've watched a movie we've never watched before. Well, another person recommended it, so essentially it's about this girl. She gets stranded in the middle of not in the middle of the ocean, but quite a ways off the shore from the beach. And so there's it's just this shark trying to attack her and stuff like that.
So it's kind of like a thriller.
It's like a thriller, but at the same time, we're totally just judging her the entire time. just the entire time, like, oh, well, that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
And like none of her family knows like where she's at. And we're like, oh, well, that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
So it's just great. It's just great.
Chandler, have you ever had like a favorite FHE activity that you go back to?
FHE activity. Oh, I mean, game nights are always
Like board
like,
games?
Yeah, like
Oh.
those are always the go-to. You know, when we're like, we don't know what to do, then it's always board games and popcorn or board games and candy or whatever it is. There's also, I have enjoyed making things with my FHE, like food-wise. This semester, I'm an FHE coordinator, right?
Yeah.
A group leader. And so what we're doing is we have somebody in our group who makes pizza dough. And so they're making pizza dough and we're making personalized pizzas. And he also makes bread. And so it's fantastic. I freaking love his bread. He made some last night for the first time and I ate it and I was like, whoa, this is a new experience. But yeah, shout out to Jacob Brown. He's a good guy. So
There you go.
Yeah, but like things that food we can make is always a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And combining those two together, like the board games and the food, might be a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also one of our ideas, which was, I believe it was MasterChef night. So essentially, each group would make a dish, but then there would be somebody to judge it. Like I'm not sure exactly how you guys would plan this out, but it just varies between groups depending on how many are in each group. But you could say each group will make a specific dish, and then it would almost essentially be like roulette. Like whoever's tasting this dish would have no idea who made what dish. And then they would give their, like, just make it fun, give your opinions, and like you could even like say it in a Gordon Ramsay accent or something. Just make it fun, make it just like great for your group, just enjoyable.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. One of the ones you put on here that interests me because I've never heard of it before is Bob Ross night.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I got this idea from one of my roommates, the one that she really enjoyed. So it's essentially Bob Ross, but like Bob Ross finger painting. And so
Finger painting.
So like you would just, finger paint like Bob Ross things just with your hands and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it just sounds really funny. Instead of just using brushes to make it like all nice and pretty, you just finger paint, follow along as best as you can.
Just paint some clouds with your fingers.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
Wasn't Bob Ross's thing like everyone can paint? Wasn't that?
I think that was his big thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like Ratatouille. Everyone can cook.
Yeah,
But not
pretty
everyone-
much.
The happy tree.
Bob Ross hasn't met me or didn't meet me. So he made that statement preemptively because there's no way that I can paint, even with my fingers. I mean, I have the skill level of a second grader,
Just make abstract art.
But abstract, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. You have to interpret the art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And then there's also some other pretty good ideas. There's Strike Zone Bowling. That is pretty affordable.
What's that one?
So that is actually a bowling alley located, I want to say, like it's right on the same floor as the university store, but it's more closer to, I believe it's the Soleil, right there where the stairs are. Mm-hmm. That food, I think it's a food place, or it also sells like juices.
Soleil is, yeah.
Yeah.
But the bowling alley's across the way from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's a pretty good alternative.
Is Soleil the one that does the bagels?
Yes.
Here on
Yeah.
campus? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the same person who runs Strike Zone Bowling, he also runs Skateway. So that's also another alternative to having fun with your FHE group. If you're not a huge fan of the bowling, Skateway is also affordable as an FHE group.
Absolutely.
And
That's a
then
fun one.
another actually free alternative that I had the pleasure of interviewing was Emma Berry, and she works with Student Connections. They were once called Student Living, but now they're called Student Connections, and they are in charge of home evening nights every Monday. So that is completely free, which I had no idea for the longest time. So I think listening to their interview gave me a lot of more information of just how enjoyable it is, not only for the students that work there, but also for the FHE groups that decide to attend. So
yeah, and we have that interview right here. Let's play it real quick for the audience.
So I am the event specialist at Student Connections. So a lot of my job is scheduling the rooms, the items that we need to put on each activity, just planning the logistics, assigning people to different positions during the event, and then just being there every Monday having fun.
that's so awesome. So you get to personally work with the students or have fun with the students, not necessarily with them, but helping them to have fun, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you guys in charge of creating the ideas, or is there a set idea every semester?
So we have a lot of creativity allowed in our program. So a lot of the things we actually come up together. Someone will be like, hey, I really noticed that this is like something that students love to do. So dodgeball. And then we'll try to figure out how we can incorporate that. So that might be like, we'll do a glow night theme, and then we'll include like glow in the dark dodgeball. And there's like set ones. So usually we have carnival night, and this semester we're going to do like a Cupid carnival. So it's more of Valentine's Day theme, but just like these ideas are usually just from our own like team, and we get feedback from people that come to our events and what they want to see, and we plan around that.
That is so cool. So you guys come up with these events yourselves, correct? Okay, so let's see. Which events do you think, so especially now that it's winter time, were you here last winter?
Yes, I was here last winter.
Okay, so what events did you find successful for FHE?
So
Evenings.
a really big success one was it was glow night. So it was just like glow in the dark themed activities. So we had mini golf and karaoke, and just like all with the theme of, glow in the dark. So it's really cool, and everyone's wearing like glow sticks and things, and it's really fun.
That's awesome. So Glow Night was definitely one of the more successful activities. Which activity was the most popular to do?
So we had two really big events last fall, and they were a prom night, which was completely new for the program. It was really cool. We rented out the Hart Auditorium. We had a balloon drop. We had free corsages and boutonnieres. We had a DJ. It was really fun. We had like upwards to 1,000 students show up. And then also that year, we also had, during fall semester, we had a fall festival, which was an outdoor. We had it at the McKay Amphitheater. So many people showed up. It was, once again, it was close to 1,000 people. It was just really fun. People got to play games and win prizes, and it was all free. So
That's amazing. And what would you say are just a small input, or without spoiling the next activities that are coming up, but what are some of the activities that you've done in the past that a lot of people found very enjoyable?
yeah, so we usually have rodeo nights. We're going to have one this semester. We have a mechanical bull. We have like pie eating contests, karaoke, country dancing, just a bunch of fun things that all fit into that like country theme. It's super fun. We get lots of people come.
That sounds great. And then you said earlier that you do have an Instagram and a Facebook account. Do those talk about some of the activities that will be happening in the future?
Yeah, so we always promote our events through our social media pages. Yeah, just follow us and you'll get like up-to-date details on what the activities are going to be, what's the theme. Yeah.
So the Instagram account is BYU-Student Connections, correct?
Yeah.
And the Facebook account is BYU-I Students Connections, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I loved the most was how she gave her her opinion on just how much fun she had working not only with her her fellow coworkers, but also working along with the other FHE groups that attended, and just the amount of like high spirits that she had when she talked about it. I thought it was such a great opportunity.
Yeah, it was really cool. How often do they do FHE nights where you can bring like your group to these kinds of activities?
They do this every Monday, but the only thing is that they don't do this on national holidays. So I know this last week there was Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Mm-hmm.
They do not hold those activities on those days. So, which is why we also are providing some activities that you can do on your own. So when those days do happen and they don't hold those free home evening activities, that you guys also have options to use.
Absolutely. So one of the big problems we mentioned earlier is that it's cold, and we've talked a lot about indoor activities and things that you can do to escape the cold. But what about people who want to be more athletic or more active with their activities?
They want to freeze the knees.
They want to turn into a popsicle.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you really like being turned into a popsicle, then I recommend. So I had this interview with this amazing person. Her name was Chris Pond, and she works for the school, and she gave ideas about also some other alternatives to FHE activities, and some of them also that were included were outdoors. So she had a couple of ideas that I think you guys would really love to hear, and she provides resources as well for you to be able to look at those ideas for yourselves.
Okay, yeah. Let's listen to that interview right now.
The student living manager in the Housing and Student Living Office.
Okay, and you said you oversee the Student Connections, correct?
I oversee student living, which is different than Student Connections, but we're under the similar umbrella with Student Life. So the Student Life under President Renee has several different facets. And, you know, it involves like the involvement on a campus level for activities and various other organizations for student leadership. Also includes the counseling center, the health center, the Housing and Student Living Office. Consider it everything that helps support a student's well-being and their integration at the university.
So do you know a little bit about the activities that can benefit other FHE groups?
Absolutely.
Okay. What activities would you recommend that they attend?
So let me give a snapshot of home evening. Home evening is church-wide, obviously, for young single adults throughout the church, whether in families or in single student wards. Home evening is a practice that brings people together. You have an opportunity to teach the gospel, have some shared experiences together, build relationships, and have a little fun. At BYU-Idaho, I'm going to talk about two different aspects. One is the student living lesson that you can hold in your home evening group. So if you go to the Student Living webpage, you can find lessons that will allow you a quick lesson. And these are on building Zion and being the kind of roommate that you would want for yourself, and just really great things. There are also within Student Connections, there's called Campus Connect. They hold weekly home evening activities on campus in the Manwaring Center on Monday nights at 7 p.m. You can find out more about the particular activities because they do a different activity each week, like sometimes it's glow in the dark. And you can find those online. You can search for home evening activities. Monday nights, they call it Monday night activities, and you can sign up as a ward, you can sign up as a stake, or you can just go with your individual family home evening unit. I think the fun balanced with teaching the gospel and gathering together creates a unique opportunity we have to fellowship and to bring members of our ward together closer, to really include those that may not fit in yet or be nervous or they haven't made a lot of friends. This is a perfect avenue to include them and invite them in a very safe setting that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you have any specific activities in mind for home evening that you think would benefit other students? Other than, because I know we interviewed a student. Her name was Emma. She's a part of the Student Connections. So do you have any other activities in mind when you think about family home evening?
Absolutely. I think there's a range, right? So you've got to be considerate of the time of your group, because we have students here, obviously, to study and go to school, and there's homework and there's jobs and there's other things that they're doing on Monday nights. And so I think just getting the climate of what your group is up for is important at the beginning, because if you're planning really elaborate, long, hour-long or 2-hour-long activities, it may not accommodate everyone in your group, and therefore they're not participating and reaping the benefits of that association and that friendship. So I think it's important for a home evening group to establish maybe once a month we do something really fun. There are so many great things happening in East Idaho. I used to teach a class that said, don't let anybody tell you there's nothing to do in Rexburg. That was the name of the class, because students come here and say there's nothing to do in Rexburg. There is. Look on the community calendar. There's things happening in our community and in the surrounding areas. There's festivals. There's a variety of things that you may be able to attend as a home evening group. But on a Monday night, I would say keep it simple. Maybe once in a while go to the campus activity and they give the lesson and the activity. It's all done within an hour. That's perfect. But you're still going to want to form this friendship and the solidarity as a small group as well. And so I would say look for really simple, easy activities that you can do in your home, getting to know one another, playing games where you ask questions, and, simple card games or board games, and building things together and creating, you could do a little mini art class. There's a wonderful Arts in Rexburg. Every Thursday night, they have an adult class. It's like $10 a person, and you can do watercolor together. And so there's fun things that you may be able to do outside of the typical Monday night. So maybe your Monday night structure is we come together for a half hour, we have a great lesson, a great discussion, and then a couple times a month we meet together and do an activity that may not fall on a Monday because of our community. Not a lot of things are held on Mondays, but I would say there's just a multitude of activities that you can do either on campus, in your homes, or in the community, and find some really meaningful ways to bond and to build friendship.
That's amazing. And do you have a Facebook group in mind that does announce some of these activities, or where do you find most of these activities, the information about these?
Okay, so if you go to the Student Living webpage, there's a roommate guide, and it'll say building relationships. If you scroll to the bottom of that building relationships, there's actually a link to a community calendar that has some things. There are Facebook pages. I'm not sure of any particular one that I would recommend over another, but there are in and around Southeast Idaho, things to do. There's some that you can search just by things to do in Rexburg, or there's different locations like the Holiday Games. There's actually even a Holiday Games store where you can just go and play any board game that you can even imagine. It's free to go in. They have a little cafe. It's over on, just past Porter Park on 2nd South and about between 3rd and 4th East. Or west, 3rd and 4th west. But there's great little places where you could just go. It's free. You play games together. And so look around. But I think if you do a little search on things to do in Rexburg, the Chamber of Commerce, which is located next to the medicine shop on the corner of 2nd and Main, like 2nd West and Main, go into the community or the Chamber of Commerce. They'll have all sorts of things happening, particularly the best time to be in Idaho is in the summer. So stay for spring semester and your options open up and expound exponentially.
That's amazing. And do you have any particular winter activities that you found have been very successful?
Okay. Depending on how brave you are. Some people love the snow. The Norwegians say there is no bad weather, just bad clothing. So gear up, go to the ORC. They even have coats and gloves and boots and things that you can rent. You can rent cross-country skis, sledding equipment, snowshoes. There are so many beautiful areas around us. Out at the golf course, the Teton Lakes Golf Course, you can either rent from the ORC, which is located under the stadium, or you can actually go to the golf course and rent pretty much the same type of equipment, and it's very similar in price. And you can go cross-country skiing and ice skating and sledding. I would say those are really fun. It helps people who are not really acclimated to the weather. If you'll have fun in the snow, you'll enjoy it a lot more. So So I would say check out what the ORC has. They have terrific selection of things you can use, even fat tire bikes. I rented those with my family and went to Harriman. We had a blast. So yeah, fun stuff there. Go to the ORC. You'll find all sorts of activities. There's even things like team building kits that you can rent, and you can use it in a gymnasium like in the Hinckley building, or you can do it in your apartment or in the lounge of your property. And so there's lots of things you can use, like giant Jenga. And so just fun stuff. Go to the ORC. You can also look them up online, and they have a list of things that you can check out.
Yeah, so it's just amazing that, like, not only are we given some ideas that you can do on campus, but you're also given ideas that may be a little more costly, but also some of them that are off campus and in outdoors that are also affordable as well. Mm-hmm. If you want to just have a really fun day outside, she provides those ideas for you.
That's awesome. What were some of your favorite ones that she mentioned?
She did talk about there was this activity that had to do with the sleigh ride, and like they would actually it would just be a sleigh ride with hot cocoa, and it sounded so fun and enjoyable. That was one of the ideas that I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. Maybe if not a lot of your FHE groups are really that into freezing themselves, then maybe something that you could do with a smaller group, especially if not a lot of them are able to come to FHE. Mm-hmm. So
it's a good medium.
Oh, yeah.
You can kind of freeze, but you can also have hot cocoa and not have to get a ride, right? I don't know.
And sledding is fun. I mean, we see that it is getting a little warmer now, so hopefully we can do some other things too, and the snow's melting. But like, yeah, sledding is always a ton of fun, and there's a ton of places to do it. I know a lot of people like to sled at the dunes.
Oh yeah, I remember I had the opportunity last winter to join one of my roommate's boyfriends, their ward activity, which essentially was sledding at the dunes. So their ward just rented sleds at the ORC, which is also what is mentioned in the interview. So definitely check out the ORC if you're in need of any outdoor activity equipment. So
yeah, and for our listeners, the ORC is the Outdoor Recreational Center.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
I wanted to say services, and I was like, that's an S.
That's what's with an S.
Yeah, but they have plenty of gear. They have hiking gear. Do they even have? I know they have sleds.
Oh yeah.
But don't they have skis? I'm pretty sure they even have some stuff like that.
I think they have a lot of different like outdoor activities. I know they even have bikes.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of things there that I never knew about.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of cool stuff that they offer that if you're bored and you want to go outside, you want to do stuff, they probably have something that you can entertain yourself with and that you can entertain your FHE group with. So they're a great resource on campus to use.
So I'm curious, you had mentioned outdoor activities. We talked about some of them. The ropes course is another one.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Is that open at this time of year?
Actually, it is, but it's indoors for those people that don't like doing outdoor stuff. So actually, I learned this not too long ago, but the ropes course actually also does almost all of the exact same things that you would do outdoors, but it's indoors.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure. So I worked for Soapbox on campus, and we did one of those. We did the ropes course, but during the winter last year, and that's how I met my fiance.
That's so
because we got paired up on an activity.
No way.
That's so
That's
cool.
Awesome. So do the ropes course in the winter, okay? All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The indoors ropes course.
Yeah.
You can still do ropes course, but it's going to be indoors for those who do not like freezing the knees.
Yeah, and there were like a lot of team building kind of activities that the ropes course does, and those can be a lot of fun for an FHE group. So a lot of like kind of mind puzzles and things like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's especially helpful, like early on when you don't quite know your FHE group, the different people, and so it's like a good icebreaker, I guess, pun intended, almost in the winter, right? But
Yeah, absolutely.
you get those chances to get to know those people and build those stronger relationships. So like down the road, as you're doing more activities, you can actually break past those surface level questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what FHE is all about, right?
Yeah.
It's about connecting with other people and meeting other people and making your college experience richer while you're at BYU-Idaho. You've been listening to The Spot, a production of BYU-Idaho Radio. Today's hosts are me, Christian Nelson,
Me, Chandler Guadagnin.
And me, Brianna Leal.
with special guests Emma Berry and Chris Pond. The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university and are solely the opinions of the hosts. This episode was edited by Christian Nelson. Producers were the hosts with supervision by Brandon Isle. Our theme music is Finding Happiness by DJ Quads and The Perpetual Ticking of Time by Artificial Music. To listen to more episodes of The Spot, like and follow us on social media or visit the website byui.edu/radio and click podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to the BYU-Idaho Radio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasts. And also leave us a review of the show and leave a comment on what we should talk about next.